Now, we've spent the whole day looking at, I suppose, pathways to success. And we've heard some really personal journeys in terms of how people have done it, how people have reflected upon it, and what it has meant to them to live lives in business, growing businesses, doing incredible things with their businesses. And I have to say our last speaker follows very much in that vein. Lord Bilimoria of Chelsea, Karan Bilimoria, is not only the new patron of the Small Business Charter, which I'm absolutely thrilled to share with you, but he is also, I think, one of the most iconic business voices in the UK today. If you like Cobra Beer, you'll know exactly who he is, and who doesn't? Good question. I'm sure he'll want to ask you that personally. But, you know, this is the story of taking the basement startup, of growing it, nearly losing it, and turning it into something iconic. And I often call it the idea that became the icon. It's a story that, you know, I think has got so many learnable lessons in terms of how to live a life well lived. I think, you know, Karan is not only an entrepreneur, he is an advocate for business, gives a huge amount back to business and entrepreneurs. I think it's a big part of why he supports the work of the Small Business Charter and specifically the Help to Grow programme. He's our final speaker. Karan, we're going to just say that before I introduce you, when you finish, we're going to bring all of the inaugural graduates of the Help to Grow programme who are here today on stage to have a photograph with you. So that wasn't in your briefing, but the one thing about good entrepreneurs is they're always flexible and can think on their feet. So as long as you're happy with that, we are. So with that reason, let's give him a very big round of applause.
Thank you very much. How many of you here are Help to Grow Management course alumni? Can I see a show of hands? Wow, congratulations. This is brilliant. Michael Heyman is somebody I've known and worked with for many, many years. And as you've probably seen all day, he's brilliant and absolutely amazing. And Flora, who you've probably met earlier today as well, I worked very closely with when I was president of the CBI, and she is brilliant as well. So thank you to both of you and to everyone involved in putting this day together. I believe it's been a great success, and I've heard from other speakers as well. So just to wrap up the day, so to say, I come from India originally, and I still do a lot of UK-India work. I've been doing this now for 20 years, and on the 24th of August, I went to India to attend the B20, just before the G20. And I tell you, when I was president of CBI, I chaired the G7, the B7 before the G7. If you remember, in Cornwall, with Boris on the beach and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, it was a fantastic, we did a great job. And I thought, wow, I've been involved in organizing an event like that. Flora probably remembers. We put a huge amount of effort, and we did a great job. I mean, had the head of the World Bank and the WTO and the IMF and Prime Minister, everyone. It was just really, really well done. I tell you, nothing compared with what India did with the G20. They knocked the ball out of the park. A whole year with dozens of events and non-stop in every field you can imagine, culminating in the B20 and the G20. So I arrived there, and on the 24th, and India was celebrating, because on the 23rd, the day before, India had just landed the first spacecraft on the south pole of the moon, becoming only the 4th country in the world ever to have landed a spacecraft on the moon. And wait for this. They did it at a cost of $74 million. Not billion, I didn't say billion, 74 million. And that is frugal innovation at its utmost. I mean, that is just phenomenal. And it was described as a victory cry of a new India. And I came here to study in the UK as a 19-year-old from India. I studied here, qualified as a chartered accountant in the City of London. The Bishopsgate brings back bad memories because I sat some of my exams across the road. And chartered accountancy exams are not nice. I also did a law degree in Cambridge. I just, in fact, been at Cambridge all day today. And I decided very quickly during my chartered accountancy I didn't want to be an accountant for the rest of my life. I also decided during my law degree, although I enjoyed my time at Cambridge and loved the law, I didn't want to be a lawyer for the rest of my life. So I escaped both those professions. And I came up with the idea for Cobra Beer while I was a student at Cambridge. It was not a eureka moment. I did not jump out of a bath naked and run down the streets of Cambridge. It was an idea that evolved. And it came home to me earlier this week. You've all studied at business schools to do this program. And there's a new business school that's opened up in Canary Wharf from India called the S.P. Jain London Management School. And they have branches in Sydney and in Dubai and in India and now here in London. And I said, how? Another business school in London competing with all the amazing business schools we have in the UK? How are you going to succeed? And I thought about that going in there. And I remembered my own position. How was I going to succeed coming up with an Indian beer brand from nowhere with no money against all the odds, against giants? How do you succeed when you're up against all the odds? And the fundamental reason you do it is if you do something that is different and better, and that will change the marketplace forever. In my case, that extra smooth, less gassy beer, brewed smooth for all food, the winning formula. And it has been a winning formula. 146 gold medals, 7,000 restaurants exported 40 countries around the world, and people love the product. I mean, how many of you drink Cobra Beer? Can I just see a show of hands? Thank you for your support. Do you know the lifetime value of a customer? The lifetime value of a customer, this room is worth millions of pounds to me. It's amazing. It is phenomenal once you have a product that people love and consume it throughout their lives. It is phenomenal. And if you can do that. And this little business school is doing it in a different way, where they've got engaged learning using technology that I have never seen before, where you can have a class of 60 people around the world, and the professor, through technology, can go up to a screen and speak to an individual student, not like a Zoom call. It's Zoom plus, plus, plus. And students getting a chance to spend time in 4 different places. So they've got a chance by doing something differently and better. What I learned in the first few years of Cobra, it was head down, trying to get this plane to take off. And it's very tough. I mean, you all started your own businesses. It's not easy. Raising finance for a growing business is not easy. I have my 10 Ps of building a business. First, you've got to have a great product. It's got to be at the right price. In my case, it's a super premium product, so it's expensive. It's got to be place available, and in my case, restaurants, supermarkets, cash and carries, and bars and pubs and exported. Fourth is promotion. You've got to promote your product. I couldn't even afford a branded beer glass when I started. Today we have the full suite of marketing and advertising and PR. And those are the 4 Ps of marketing, which you would have learned at your business schools. My extra 6 Ps, the most important P to me is people. I'm a manufacturer, but people in any business is the most important thing. The next P is finance, spelled PH. You can't do anything without the money. And as you all know who put your hands up, it is really difficult to raise money for a growing business, and particularly in my case, an unknown brand with no collateral, no security to offer. It's tough. The next P is passion. You've got to love what you do, follow your passion, not your pension. The next P is partnership. How many of you started with a business partner? Can I see? Most hands. I couldn't have done it on my own, but I'm talking beyond your business partner. I'm talking about treating everybody as a partner. Your customers, your suppliers, your bankers, your lawyers, your accountants, your advertising agency, your shareholders, your employees. They're all your partners. The next P is principles. It is better to fail doing the right thing than to succeed doing the wrong thing. And the next P is profit. There's no point doing this unless you make profit. So if you follow those 10 Ps, great, my business took off. Then I discovered lifelong learning. And I went to Cranfield School of Management, did the business growth program, very similar to the program that you've done. I went to the London Business School and did an entrepreneurial growth program over 5 years. And then I went to Harvard Business School and did the President's Program in Leadership over 9 years. And I'm an alumnus now of 3 business schools, and I can tell you it's the best thing that I've done. And I've gone back for refresher courses regularly. And now I'm back at Cambridge doing research at Cambridge. The learning never stops. I was dropping my younger son to school one day when he was 17 years old, And he turned around to me out of nowhere. I mean, he normally talks a whole lot of nonsense. But he just suddenly said, "Dad, you've got to live as if you're going to die tomorrow." So what are you talking about, Josh? "Dad, you've got to learn as if you're going to live forever." Where did you get that? Dad, Mahatma Gandhi, of course. So that's what you're doing. By going on this course, by being here today, you have that attitude of non-stop learning, and the learning never, never, ever stops. And just remember, we are very, very lucky to be where we are, to be in the UK. When I came here in the early 80s, the UK was looked upon as the sick man of Europe. Those exact words, sick man of Europe. Country going nowhere, had a great empire, biggest empire of the modern world, not of the world. I'm a Zoroastrian Parsi. The Persian Empire was the biggest of the ancient world, 44% of humanity. But what happened to Britain? Margaret Thatcher, whether you like her or not, transformed this country from an economic point of view. And one of the best things she did was to open up the City of London and to champion entrepreneurship. And one of the best things she did was to appoint a businessman, Lord David Young, as first her employment minister and then her business secretary. And to get somebody with a business background into cabinet was phenomenal. And a lot of what we're benefiting is thanks to Lord David Young, who sadly passed away, a great hero of mine and of Michael's. And I'm so privileged to now be patron of the Small Business Charter, taking over from him, something that he actually founded. And he is a legend that will always inspire all of us. I mean, he's so brilliant that David Cameron, by the way, now Lord Cameron, he took a seat last week. I thought he was going to, you've got to be Lord, I'm Lord Bilimoria of Chelsea, so I thought he'd be Lord Cameron of Brexit. But he chose Lord Cameron of Chipping Norton. Anyway, by the way, how many of you think that Brexit was an unmitigated disaster and an act of self-harm? Can I just see a show of hands? Right, there we are. Every time I ask this question, anywhere, any audience, international, domestic, business people, not business people, this is what happens 7.5 years ago. Anyway, we're going to get out of it, and we're doing pretty well. So David Cameron made him business advisor, and he has done an amazing job. And then we have the Small Business Charter. We have the Association of Chartered Business Schools, of which Flora runs, and many of the business schools are over here. You've attended those business schools, and you've attended this wonderful course. Have you, Michael, reported during the day of the success of the course, the statistics of 85, 90% of people who've done the course, the levels of satisfaction of all of you is just off the charts. I mean, if I could launch a new product and have, in such a quick time, the levels of satisfaction that we've got out of this course is just incredible. And that is testament to all of you in committing to it, to the government funding it and doing it. You know, I suggested to Vince Cable when he was business secretary, he loved the idea, it was shot down. Rishi Sunak did it when he was Chancellor, and I'm very grateful to him. And he still continues to champion. I spoke to him about it the other day. He said, please, please keep championing it, and we're all doing that. So we're very lucky to have this program, which is, I think, brilliant. And I'm grateful to the government for supporting it, for funding it, and to give all of us this opportunity. We had the budget yesterday. How many of you liked the budget? Can I just see a show of hands? Oh, okay. How many of you didn't like it? Okay, you see, there's a mixed bag. Let me just be very, very frank with you. When I was CBI president, I kept calling out. I told Rishi, do not put up taxes when he was Chancellor. He didn't listen. And he had his reasons. We would debate it quite, I mean, he's a good friend. We debated it. He kept putting up taxes. I said one thing, make full expensing. Full expensing, so that you invest as a business, allow us to write it off fully. Do you remember the super deduction of 130%? That was being taken away. We said, put in full expensing as a permanent. He's done that. Now, they've done that, which is great news. Reduced taxes, national insurance going down by 2% is a good thing. So this is all moves in the right direction. Help to Grow Management is continuing to be backed. Great thing. Business rates relief for smaller businesses, restaurants, hospitality, 75% relief is going to continue. Great thing. So there's a lot of really good stuff in the budget for which I'm grateful. The reality is taxes are still the highest level for 70 years. The reality is still that corporation tax has been put up from 19% to 25%, which I don't agree with. So that fiscal drag is there, and it's equivalent to a 9p increase in tax by 2030, which affects every taxpayer in this country. So that's a reality. There's some good, there's some reality, and we as entrepreneurs, we can make excuses, but I'm afraid there are no excuses. You've got to get on with it and make a success, whatever the environment. Inflation, good news, has gone down to 4.6%. It was 11%. But America's lower than us, and the EU is lower than us. And the forecast, it's going to go back down, maybe not to 2%, but just above 2%. And we need growth in the economy. What we're all about, the name of this program is growth. And the economy needs to grow as well. And I think to do that, we need to invest in research and development, innovation, and we're brilliant at that as a country. By the way, which university in the world has more Nobel Prizes than any other? It's not an American university. It's a British university, Cambridge University. I'm going to conclude now. Before that, I want to just check. How many of you think you're creative? Wow. You'll never get so many hands in a normal audience. Normally, less than half the hands go up. That is the secret to being successful as an entrepreneur, is to have that ability to be creative and innovative. And I was told throughout my childhood I was not creative because I was useless at art. And I was useless in music. I passed grade 1 piano. And then they said, spare us, you're tone deaf. So I only realized when I started my business that I'm actually very, very creative. And it is the most important skill. So I'm so glad to see all these hands go up. Have that restless innovation, ability to be non-stop creative. I'm in a way paranoid. I always want to just try and stay one step ahead. We've just launched our new Cobra Zero non-alcoholic beer. I mean, non-alcoholic beers are disgusting. You know, they are really bad. And we produced one for a while, and you know, that beer was pretty good, made in Holland. But we've just found in one of our breweries with my partners, Molson Coors, a non-alcoholic beer that is the best you've ever tasted using new technology in Serbia. And it's fantastic. You taste it, you think you're drinking normal beer. So that's the sort of non-stop. And the next thing you've got to have, the one word that sums up all of us in this room, we're creative, but we have guts. We have the guts to do it. Lots of people have business ideas. You've actually gone out and done it. More importantly than that, you've got the guts to stick with it when others would give up. And I've nearly lost my business 3 times. And finally, I end this by saying, going back to something I said earlier on, let's be grateful for where we are, because we're in a country that is genuinely a great country. We have the strongest combination of hard and soft power of just about any country in the world. Our manufacturing is still top 10 in the world. Our financial services, where we are today, is top 2 in the world. Our financial services, our services exports were top 2 in the world. Our defense force is small but phenomenal. We've got great hard power. And our soft power, universities, the best in the world, along with the United States of America. 4 out of the top 10 universities are UK, 17 out of the top 10, top 100 are UK. We are amazing. Our royal family, Her Majesty the Queen, Elizabeth II, what a great, great, great lady. The whole country loved her, but the whole world respected her. And now His Majesty the King, royal family, great soft power. The BBC gets a lot of criticism, but around the world, highly respected. 500,000 people watch and listen to BBC every single week. And as for Premier League football, that's another thing altogether. So we have great, great soft power. So please, let's finish this day with all the challenges some people fail because of, other people succeed in spite of. So in spite of all the challenges, you are succeeding, this country will succeed, and we believe in ourselves. Because our beliefs become our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits form our character, and our character determines our destiny. Good luck, and thank you.